Center Avenue, put it in anyways, you could turn into get-go. So what are they gonna do? With people walking and what have you, and have to make a turn into it.
Okay.
We good?
Good.
Okay.
And that was a concern, and they felt that was a legitimate concern as far as, the public safety goes.
So yourself now coming from Oakwood,
It gets backed
with
up
them 2 lights in Verona, 3 lights in Verona, it's just
at rush
parking
hour.
lot.
They're up by the cannon,
Yeah.
waiting to come through town. And if they block that street off, now we got 2 rows of coming into town, people that want to make a right at get-go on Center and going straight, you got a line of traffic. So they're looking into that, PennDOT.
Or they,
Yeah, they're still, so to speak, the jury's out on that yet, is it feasible to do that on that side of the road?
it's just a scary thought of having people on bicycles and walking on that viaduct,
Yeah.
who's liable?
And if they do go ahead with it, my biggest concern was, what's it gonna look like if you put the, they call them something else, they're like Jersey barriers.
Well,
They said they would be more aesthetic, and decorative.
they have them things down on Washington Avenue, like them little poles.
Yeah.
I have a non-safety related question about it. You might know, you or Nancy. The proposed plan is to cut through our existing parking lot, correct?
We have it here and I just can't get.
I counted, and if they're gonna cut through that parking lot, I think that's 28 parking spots.
I think the plan is when they go through that parking lot, it's a share road. All it will be paint like through the center of the parking lot.
Okay, so they won't take the parking spots away, because that's like
The plan
20.
as of right now, it's not touching any parking
Okay,
anywhere.
Right, that was,
Very happy though, if it did take away some of that parking, because that becomes an issue as borough employees, as people whip around that parking lot like it's a turning lane.
Yeah.
Instead of a
Um,
actual parking lot.
As far as the money, the woman you were talking about is Courtney. Who has come here to talk. She's with Friends of the Riverfront. The major grant that she's applying for is a federal grant, which everyone seems to think we have a good chance at, because a lot of the stuff is on a state road. And that's a zero match.
I guess along the lines of the money part, I'm looking 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, if we have to maintain it.
Well, most of what there is to maintain is our roads. Like, it's not. Really, through the park here is about the only place that is non-road that will be bike trail.
yeah, they're actually going behind this gazebo here, they've had pictures, it's gonna
Behind
come-
the gazebo.
Yeah, behind there,
And then come out through the parking lot here.
right,
And
And we're-
so everything's gonna be on, except for Railroad Park here. Everything else is going to be on existing borough roads, and it'll be just paint on the road other than on.
in my understanding, and Nancy, if I'm wrong, please say, Verona's the start of it, as we know, they wanna start with Verona first. Then go to Plum Creek, the Plum Street. Then the third part would be up in Milltown, down by the trailer courts there,
Yes.
Through Milltown. Then into Plum, so
And part of the reason they want to start in Verona is because it's going on roads, so there isn't much in the way of construction.
Or buying properties or.
Right,
Okay.
acquiring right of ways, acquiring property, construction. The road, the roadway and all that. As far as maintenance. Any maintenance that we would have to do. What I've been going on, I go out to Westmoreland Heritage Trail. And every half mile, they have every quarter mile, they have a mile marker, and they get people to sponsor it.
Okay,
So that could be used to help with the maintenance of it.
Yeah, so my biggest concerns, like I said, was the aesthetics of shutting down that one road and the traffic and get-go, going into get-go.
And I know PennDOT has been, and what is it, PRT or whatever it is now,
Yeah.
the Port Authority.
Yeah.
Have both been involved in the discussion.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. You shut down that right lane where the Port Authority pulls over. Then they gotta stop in the straight through lane. It's just a scary for the pedestrians.
But they are talking about using those bollards or whatever they're called. As a
Flex
visual-
post type things.
Yeah, as a visual divider between the bikes and the
Uh,
cars.
I just question if somebody gets hit or is the borough gonna be liable for any of that?
And the other thing is, just so everyone understands, the light at Plum Street has to go in whether BOV ever happens or not.
Yeah, they did say
As
that.
part of the studies,
We did, PennDOT actually said, a spokesman, I just read this, PennDOT, a spokesman from PennDOT said. That they did not tell Oakmont they had to install that light. That light was part of the plan proposed by BOV.
see now, Track Systems told us that was.
Yeah.
I just read that in the name.
They said it a million times at the meeting that, when they did the study for the trail, that what they found out is due to the traffic volume, that regardless of whether there's a trail or not, they would be putting a light in Plum Street.
But the article that Mike DiVittorio wrote about the meeting, he said that he quoted a PennDOT worker or a PennDOT spokesman that said. PennDOT did not tell Oakmont to put this light in. This was proposed by the BOV train.
Oakmont has told me the exact opposite.
Yeah,
So
and I was
clearly there's a hard
Well, I'm
part.
just saying what the.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
this-
that's a
And I
hard
was
part.
actually
Oakmont
at
said the
a
exact
BOV meeting
opposite.
where the PennDOT spokesman straight out, the first time, they told Oakmont that the light had to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
And it was from the,
It could
it was
change again
like,
tomorrow.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was from,
Oh, it could be bad reporting, I mean.
well, no, I
Right.
think what the confusion is. It was determined a light needed to be there. Because of the traffic studies for BOV,
Okay,
not,
so if the trail wasn't
Yeah,
going in, the light probably.
they wouldn't
be
have done the
paid.
traffic study, so they wouldn't have realized that it was needed. I think that's the confusion.
Unless somebody would have called and said we have to do a traffic study, and then
Right.
it might have been looked at, and I think there was always talk that we either gonna have to be a light there or a light at college. Because of the traffic barriers, but yeah,
My biggest concern, aside from the safety issue that's been brought up and the traffic issue of closing down. It's already backed up to Oakmont with
Yeah.
3 lanes, now we're gonna go to 2 lanes.
Yeah.
But I'm,
Well, that has a lot to do with these three lights being needed
Yes.
redone too.
They do need to be timed, but I had that same concern.
well, my
And
concern
I-
is the fact that we're relinquishing a lot of park property for this 8 feet. The whole length of this park, which we're trying to get, farmers markets and concerts in the park back and flea markets and stuff and cutting 8 feet out the length of the park is gonna hinder a lot of events that are like botany and booths out here every year. That's gonna take away a lot of room for botany and booths. And it's, I mean, how much park space is Oakmont giving up? Are they gonna put this trail right through the middle of Riverside Park or Creekside or?
It's going through Creekside.
Yeah.
It's going right through- it's going right through Creekside.
Creekside is also
And-
3 times the size of this park.
It is, and they were gonna hug the trees, they would
Yeah.
have to be trimmed and what have you.
I guess my question is, if they said Rona's the starting point, cause there's very little construction needed. Why can't they even do less construction and have the trail run along East Railroad?
because
Then it takes.
Then it takes the
No,
parking.
no, just how they're doing it at the other spot in the middle of the parking lot, just put a bike lane there.
Like down in the
And
city
you,
too.
the bikes ride with the traffic. It's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit anyway, so it's not like the bikes have to keep up with a 45-mile-an-hour car. They can ride how they've been riding here for 150 years with the traffic.
Yeah, I think they'd have to have it on that side of East Railroad.
I mean, they
And,
can,
what really, when you think about it, what's the difference if they did it that way?
And
and it's less property that we're
We're giving up.
giving up.
over by Get Go, their property, the grass that comes to the sidewalk. on Center Avenue, they're in talks with them to assume that property to the light, you know, for the
You gotta
trail.
watch that gas pump house. People says that gas pump
Yeah.
house there too.
Yeah.
I have a question. Why does it have to start in Verona? It started in Oakland.
Because it
Because
can't.
then it won't be in Verona. The idea is to bring people to Verona.
Yeah,
And
and
then I
it
know,
has
but
to
you
connect.
The idea behind it is it starts on the water, so it
Right.
starts at the docks.
Mhm.
And you don't have that in Oakmont. Oakmont's giving up a lot, and I think what everybody needs to remember is Oakmont's giving up a ton because it's not gonna go through uptown Oakmont. So they're losing, cause it goes up into, into,
Creekside, Dark Hollow.
Creekside, yeah, and Dark Hollow. So they've given up the entire part. So I think everybody had to do a huge give and take here. I think the question becomes, I think, Vince, when you're talking about behind the trees, a lot of that, they're talking to the railroads about and what the railroads are willing to give in.
I mean.
And
Verona
since,
gets-
and since we don't have a lot of say at the end of the day of what the railroads are gonna give, I think that's part of it. I think there's, but I think we have to look at it. I think Oakmont and Verona are definitely gonna have to do more giving and are getting more giving and taking than the other communities, just because of how we're situated. But if Oakmont's willing to say it's not gonna go through uptown, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like Penn Hills and Plum is more property acquisition,
Yeah, they're buying
Where
tons
Oakmont-
of property.
and Verona are more public already owned stuff.
So let me just throw a couple things. What's that?
Nothing.
Okay, the picture that I saw into the park. Looks like the trail that they're planning to put is basically gonna take the space up that's the sidewalk already. The only thing I would wonder about is. You have an electrical box back there and you have a water line right behind the gazebo. And if
That could
that's,
all be, done.
Yeah,
you know, and they're gonna put a little fence there and it looked pretty on the picture.
It did, it looked nice. on
Yeah.
the picture.
In regards to center and ARB, that was my biggest concern myself. And I thought that they were gonna take the right turn lane away. And just have a straight and right lane, a left turn lane, and then have the one lane spread into two lanes going toward Oakmont. Is everybody following what I'm saying?
No.
Coming from Oakmont, you get three lanes coming into Verona, a right turn lane, a straight lane, and a left turn lane. So anybody turning right, which you can do right on Red by get-go there, you can go down the hill around the corner, your Hula and Intergroove and all that. And I thought they were gonna take the right turn lane away, make that the bike lane, and then all the people turning right would have to wait forever to make a right during rush hour. When I talked to them, different people over and over, what they said was they're gonna keep the three lanes coming from Oakmont into Verona. You can still have a right turn lane, the bicyclers will have a stop sign or something. And then there's a straight lane, left-hand turn lane, but going to Oakmont, there's one lane going through Verona. It goes into two lanes, and that right lane turn, you can go off to Selden, becomes a dedicated right-hand turn lane onto Plum Street or into Daly's, and then it ends. Well, they're gonna get rid of that. They're just gonna keep one lane through Verona, one lane through Oakmont, and move the three lanes coming out of Oakmont into Verona intact. But there will be that bike lane to the right of people coming from Oakmont. And, of course, the thing about, well, how do you turn right into get-go off of ARB coming from Oakmont? I don't know, they need to put like stop signs in for the bicycles or something. They're gonna have to stop just like cars do. And then come up to the center. And they're gonna have to stop there also, because people are gonna turn right on Red. That is how I understood their explanation. I was so focused on that. I really didn't ever understand how they would get from here to over there. Like, are they gonna go behind the Hula Bar's dumpster? I mean, what,
No,
how-
they're gonna.
that part I really am not sure about.
Here's what the other thing you have to remember is as they do this, they're doing this in 3 stages. So Verona is stage 1, but there's 1A, one B,
Yeah.
and one C.
Yes,
So I think it sounds like we're all okay with one A. We're probably pretty okay with one B. It's one C that we have to figure out. And I think there's nothing that says that trans systems wouldn't come in and explain that. I mean, I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt and sit down and talk with them. I mean, cause I see both sides of all of this, and I get it. I am not as worried about losing park space as I am worried about people getting killed on ARB.
I'm worried about both, but.
Yeah.
I'm just, Parks and Rec has had, for about 5 years, we've had a plan for some space in that park, and this completely throws that out.
And I think we need to look, and I think we need to sit down with Trans Systems, who's designing this, and having them explain to us exactly what it looks like. Coming from a community that had bike trails like that all over, because I'm from Flatland. What sounds like a lot turns out to be very little. Because they just sound really, really big, but they're not as big as you think. So I think we need to bring I don't see where anybody could say to us that. That Trans Systems can't come in and talk to us, especially since we're the ones applying for the hardest grant of them all. We're gonna take the TASA grant, which means I am putting my, it's gonna be me, so I think we have a little more control there.
Is throughout this whole process when VOP started and the people that are on the board, is anybody from VOP actually come down and went over the actual plan and got our okay, or just the group got together and said, this is where we're going? Does anybody know that?
I don't know, Mike Forbeck and Dave were, Matlin were the two
Right.
people, as I recall, in the very beginning of
Right.
this. Although I think the beginning of VOP was even before them.
I believe so.
Yeah, but I also.
Yeah, they were instrumental
yeah.
in it. Though.
Their first meeting last week, whenever it was in Penn Hills. They are planning to do subsequent meetings in all the communities, so there will be a meeting in Verona. Not in here, it's probably not big enough, but we'll figure out a bigger space, a fire hall or something to have it. Maybe, and they will present more of their information in Verona, in Oakmont, and Plum. So there's 3 more opportunities spread out over the next 1.5 to 2 years that we will have to be able to give our input, and they're very free with their name, their email, their phone number, and I can get that to anyone, or maybe Red has that information. Do you have that information, Chris?
I don't see
Blackwell?
any reason. I mean, I'm thinking we could probably get somebody here from Trans Systems who is a little bit more knowledgeable, who can show you. I can say to them, look, we have some concerns.
Can you set that up, Stephanie?
Yes, can you
Please.
please bring in the Verona section and explain the Verona section to us?
I mean, should we make this a public type meeting?
I mean, it'll
Do we
be
want to do it at a workshop?
We'll do it at a council meeting.
Workshop.
It'll
Okay,
probably be a
workshop.
Workshop,
Okay.
and I mean, anybody who is interested can come.
Right,
It involves them and their money.
right.
One quick thing, and Nancy is correct, like, when this started in 2017, I believe. When Parks and
I'm not
Rec
sure.
started.
Our involvement. was
Yes,
maybe
well,
back
there
then.
wasn't a VOP then. We actually reached out to Penn Hills and Plum and Oakmont. And at first, I think Oakmont didn't want anything to do with it. And then we kind of won them over. But at first, it was all of Parks and Rec. And we had taken field trips down behind Rob Roy's. We had talked to wildlife conservationists to see if they, and VOP talked about maybe building a boardwalk along the river over the swamp area.
Right,
And that is the plan that Parks and Rec was originally behind before it got twisted and convoluted to now start at Steel City Rowing didn't even exist at the time. Now it's starting Steel City Rowing and coming up through. It's basically doing exactly what we in Parks and Rec talked about 5-6 years ago as not wanting. We didn't want it to take up parking spaces. We didn't want it to run through the residential area. We wanted it to run along the river. We wanted it to connect with Edgewater and Oakmont. We wanted it to, if we couldn't get it to run along the river, we wanted to get the railroad to grant us some throughway along here and then maybe redo one of the train bridges so it could cross the creek there. Those were the ideas we were coming up with. And it seems like none of them came to fruition, and now they're just like, well, let's take away
Well,
park
and
property
you
and
might remember
turning
there
lane.
was, there was a public survey done.
Yeah, I
and-
know.
And there was,
Feasibility study.
and also feasibility study, so there was, there was reasons why that couldn't happen, it wasn't just.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that originally that was the plan, and now it's. I'm just saying, maybe we need to rethink this, because I understand it's a great opportunity, but if it's completely the opposite of what the original plan was intended for. Do we really want it?
I think you need to understand, it's not gonna go through Edgewater, it's not gonna go through any of that, it's not, that's
Right.
not
Right.
gonna happen,
Right.
it's never gonna happen. So if that's your intent. That's over, because there's no way those people own those properties, those are $1 million properties that don't want a bike trail going through their community. Therein lies that issue, so you have to come up, and the question becomes now. If, I mean, and I get both sides, and all I'm saying is you can be for or against it. But this is the one thing about this is it does connect 4 communities, which if you run it through Edgewater and you run it down that way. It's gonna die in Oakmont, because once it gets to the end of the park, there's nowhere for it to go. And you can't have it going up Fulton Road. So that, so being from Oakmont, working in Oakmont all those years, I can see why it's not going that way. I don't agree necessarily that it's not going through more of Oakmont, but it's
But Oakmont has bike trips, they have 3 of them, 2 of them.
2 of them, yeah, and they all die at the park, basically, that all die. I mean, but I think that's part of the problem is that Edgewater, all that steel land. Are $1 million homes, and I'm convinced Rob Roy goes bankrupt. Those will be $1 million homes.
I know,
It sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but I'm just saying that I think there's more of a chance of that happening than them allowing us for the bike.
It's funny that Oakmont doesn't want the trails going through their $1 million homes, but they'll put it in front of my house.
But Oakmont actually wanted it to go through, from what I understand, they wanted it to go through uptown. They were pretty big about it going through uptown, and they couldn't configure how to get it to go through there without.
Because what you have to remember, it is a bike trail, so it has to be fairly level. So like you couldn't put a bike trail, besides traffic, you couldn't put a bike trail around Home because it wouldn't be used. Because of the steepness of
Oh,
Home.
yeah, you could put up south.
In my understanding,
That'd be fun.
my understanding too is Verona it plays a critical part, every town does, because the more communities, the more involvement the state wants as far as grants and everything,
For sure.
So if you get 4, 5, 6 communities, there's more money put into the pot. You get 1 or 2, it's like, well, we'll give you this
Yeah,
much,
it's a multi-community.
right, and that's what they want.
And what, the other thing that the state and the federal like is, we're connecting our public dock. And it's going through Creekside Park. And it's going through Milltown Park. And it's going through a park in Plum and ending up at the county park, Boyce Park.
Right.
So that's, we're connecting parks.
And we're having a really easy time right now getting grants for like our public docking system because of this. Like,
Right.
we're getting money to put in accessible docking because of this and stuff like that. So there are horrible sides to this, and I do worry, like I said, again, I worry about it cutting across this way. But there's upsides too, and I don't know if we can, I don't know if we could get out now without.
It seems to have taken on a life of its own. I mean.
You almost want-
This is a multi-million-dollar. I don't know where the federal money, state money, where they're getting it from, but these people, their jobs are this trail. And I think this trail only. This is what they spend. No, they have other trails they're dealing with. Okay, well then.
Friends of the riverfront, at any given time, are working on about 5 or 6.
Okay.
I just, the safety of it, the
Oh, I
safety
get it,
issue
right.
is the biggest issue. And money, if we have to buy a few gallons of paint to paint something, who cares? Even if they come through the middle of the parking lot, who cares? But like,
Yeah, I don't-
and Vince says about the thing, why can't they come out of the parking lot and maybe go up Diamond Way? With, you know, with the bike trail,
And there's nothing saying we can't fix some
right,
of
that's
that.
what I'm
think
saying, I
that's
just think
the-
they're coming in and telling us where it's going. And it's still our time, and I understand a lot of people are involved with this, a lot of money's involved with this, and I just wanna make sure we do the best and make the right decisions for the borough of Verona.
Well, like, the borough manager said, we need to get them in here and talk to them
Yeah.
because they're already moving forward and
Right.
Verona's included in what they already
In
have.
stage one,
Yeah,
right.
in stage one.
There's definitely, they're open for that,
Yeah.
for opportunities to tweak things. They recognize that we have the final say and we have the responsibility to maintain it, but I think the benefits here are huge for Verona.
I agree, I just.
I don't have a problem with
Not
it.
to scrap it or anything, I don't want. Us to be pressured into agreeing to a deal that is not the best for Verona.
No,
No,
no.
I agree. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, Ray, you and I have talked, like, the issue is there's no ideal way
no,
to get from Center Avenue to Plum Street. You know,
I mean, I've been doing it for
Well, I
40
mean,
years.
with a bike trail.
Yeah.
I used to walk to school from down here.
Well, no, I mean, with a bike trail, you know,
Yeah.
legally, I mean, yes, it'd be nice to go under the viaduct, except that's private property, they said no. You know,
And I think if you realize what they've done, I mean, they've listened to the business owners who complained about losing of the parking. They listened to them. I think they would listen to us. I think we just need to meet with them and stuff, you know.
I just think we can find an alternate, even if we take the bike trail on the other side of the road of Allegheny River Boulevard. If what Nancy's saying is true, they're gonna shut down that right lane going to Oakmont, put the bike trail on that side, and they can still make tractors, trailers can still make their right turn into dailies. But we don't lose that, we're gonna not make more congestion coming from Oakmont.
And I think you might lose some of the congestion with the light. I think we should sit down with transit.
I think that would be our best thing.
Yeah, because all we're doing right now is conjecturing each side of what it would
Right.
look like, and I know nothing about traffic except that I hate it.
Yeah, right. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about it so we could,
No, it's a
You
good-
know.
It's good, we haven't really done that.
That's a great discussion, thank you.
okay. My next thing is, we got an email from the Garden Club about storage of some items. And my recollection, after talking to a couple council people, that we had stopped storing Garden Club stuff in the borough garages. So I just,
Just to clarify, we had stopped allowing any groups.
oh, yeah, okay, yes, I'm sorry, yes,
Single out the garden club.
yes, we had stopped letting anybody store stuff in there.
No, but that's not true. Garden Club does have stuff in there because.
Through chamber.
Through chamber, they
Through
joined the
chamber.
chamber,
Right,
right, it's in the
That's
chambers
chamber
room,
storage,
And
it's
it's
not the
chamber
garden.
right,
Yeah.
it's not in,
right,
right, so that is, we're not storing anybody's stuff
right.
other than the borough people's stuff.
But in the chamber section.
In the
if
chamber
it's
section, that's
then
But
The
that's
here's my
okay.
comment, if it's the chamber's storage and the garden club wants to use the chamber's storage, they have to work that out with the chamber.
Correct.
To do that, they don't work that out with the borough.
right,
Correct.
because their comments were, they work 9 to 5, I don't have the exact email in front of me.
You gotta use
Oh, yeah, I do,
the
right
tag.
here. You know, note that all the garden club board work 9 to 5 jobs and cannot always be available to put items in there or retrieve them on a standard workday. Well, again, if they're going through the chamber, then they can go through the chamber to get in and out of there.
And Stephanie, I can attest to this, I watch it today. She will come in and get in there. But. And she will do that kind of stuff, but that's up to the chamber.
Right,
So they can work through Stephanie Garabay then.
And then they have to figure out, but they do have to understand, you do have to get into the garage, and I will not have a worker. After the hours of 7 to 3, Monday through Friday in that garage, I'm not gonna pay somebody to be there, I can't afford to do that to let somebody in the chamber.
Well, they're members of chamber.
Yeah.
so-
right.
They should be able to work it out, Stephanie seems to know a way to make that all work.
I just wanted to touch base on it. The next thing I have is we have two contracts coming up. We have our borough manager's contract and we have the chief of police contract coming up by the end of the year. Trish and I are gonna discuss it in the next day or two and form a committee. And we'll announce that to the people that are on the committee this week. And that's all I have to say. The next is the mayor, Mayor Recupero.
As far as hiring police, from what I understand, that background check was done on one of the officer or one of the applicants, I should say, and it's gonna be turned over to the civil service tomorrow for interviews.
Is this for the full-time job?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The other thing I have is on emergency management. I talked to the borough manager, the neighbor in town, and they're having the same problem we are. And the board needs to he thought it was a good idea of merging the towns. He's gonna talk to their board on I think Monday's their workshop. Because they're having the same problem. They can't get anybody that wants to be on emergency management because it's got to the point through the county and well, through FEMA, then through the county. These meetings.
It's a lot of time.
There's two upcoming meetings, you know, you could sign up for floodplain. And it's 2 days long from 8:30 to 4:30. Who can go to that? You know what I mean?
Especially when. you work
I
on
went
job.
to one, I didn't realize it was 2 days on tornadoes. I'm not a weatherman. That's all they talked about is the clouds and everything. For 2 days, I lost 2 days worth of work. This was several years ago. And he agreed that, you know, we have to do something. And I says, let's join forces. Let's make a, you know, the two communities be the first to start merging.
All my comment is to that is I want strict what that's gonna look like. If I'm gonna work with the borough manager, I need strictly what that's gonna look like because I don't feel comfortable without having, this is our roles, this is what it's gonna look like.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
If I'm gonna do this with this borough, I want to know exactly what that's gonna look like.
I think Dave, if I'm not mistaken, Dave is saying whoever we get to do the emergency management job
Right.
is gonna merge with some,
Yeah, and I need to know what that looks like,
Okay.
because the
Oh, yeah.
person I am going to have to merge with, I need to be able to just understand where these splits are gonna come, who's gonna do what,
Right,
what's gonna happen.
Because we both agreed, you know, I mean, Oakmont's higher as far as the floodplain. They don't really get flooded like we do here, and Ray, you know that
Yeah.
as well as I do. But their problem is when we flood, Plum Creek floods and the Commons, you know, flood. So we both share the same, you know, the problem. And he agreed, and what they're talking to is, and we should do that also, is some type of stipend for, you know, whoever wants to volunteer. You know, if somebody's willing to volunteer and go to class for 8 hours, they should be compensated somehow.
And
You know,
again, I need to stress this, because it scares me a little bit. I need to stress that whatever we do is equal partnership, and he talks to me.
well, yeah, I mean,
Because that doesn't normally happen, and I don't trust that that will happen.
And we've had that issue with the salt.
yeah,
With them that we were the little brother. And
Yeah, I
they
don't-
tried to dictate how it happened and we were just supposed to kowtow along behind.
Yeah, it's great that you talk to him, but he needs to talk to me.
he's
too.
going to.
He's gonna be my partner, and that I have to know that he's willing to work with me, because he's not always been in the past.
He's going to work with you. He's got to go through his board to see what they want to do on, I believe it's Monday at their workshop. And then he will get in touch with you and they will form some type of committee on both sides and work, you know, iron things out. How are we gonna do this? You know, what are we gonna do?
I have a question, is this, Ray, something that could be worked through COG? Try and do
I thought about that.
one
actually
emergency
thought about
management
that.
position for
I don't
all the
know.
municipalities? Because then you have one person going to these workshops covering 5 or 6 municipalities. I don't know how many are actually in COG, but you know, and have one person be for the whole group.
I don't know.
Okay,
It's a problem for everybody.
and
because
that's what I'm hearing, that's why I'm asking.
It's
is it
very-
something that could be, instead of just two communities,
Mhm.
include them all and do one.
The only thing I wonder about that, I mean, I like the idea in general, but if there is an emergency. Like, I don't know, hurricane or something that's global, that's gonna impact all 6 or 7 communities simultaneously. You'll have one person in charge of all those communities,
No,
not
you
knowing
would
which
still
way.
have,
Right.
you would still have deputies, no matter what
Right, you have that
happens.
deputy.
I mean,
Myself.
This emergency management would be going through Stephanie for Verona, would be going through somebody for Oakmont, you know, like, they'd be coordinating all the efforts.
Well, I can say this for fact, what the mayor's saying about meetings and plans and. The county has a book this thick that you have to go through. And reorganize and redo constantly. It's.
Yeah.
County can be,
And I like the idea of COG, and I was even talking to Rob about that fact, and Nancy, to your peers, I think we all have to be deputies, there's no way. Any community is going to be without.
well, I think the
people in
mayor
charge.
even suggested that he'd be on a committee still, if
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah,
mistaken.
because I mean,
So he could be our deputy
I've been through.
as far as doing all this legwork and all this.
Yeah,
All this meetings that they're required to go to, like he said, he lost a couple days' work. Nobody can afford to do that.
Two things, if you remember Hurricane Sandy, when it came in, I met with the firemen, I think you were chief at that time. And we all sat down with, the lieutenants and everything, and my last words were, look. We're all in this together, I ain't doing this myself, and they all agreed, we are all one,
And
there's no bosses, we're all one, that's the way it should be, if the COG decides every community, we're all one, we all sit down, okay, what are we gonna do?
And I think that might help, because then you have all the communities working as one, not Springdale Township doing something, Springdale Borough doing something,
Yeah.
Farmer doing something.
And-
So what
Oakmont
you're
doing something.
basically talking about is who's gonna be the poor person that has to go to the training.
but I don't think you do it
That's
that
what
way,
it
I
is.
think there's a way of doing that where you spread that out, you spread that wealth
Right,
to everybody. You're
No, I'm
better
just
off
saying,
with
if we
six-
pick one person for 6 communities.
No, you pick
that one
more than
person
one
would go to
person,
training.
you pick more than one person,
Well,
but
then
you
it's
would
no
create
different.
manuals.
But they wouldn't. have to go
and I'll leave you with this, last comment that I'll have, let's take a flood, I've been through many floods, along with, with Ray. I don't need to go to county meetings to tell me what to do. We evacuate the people, we call the gas company, we call the utility companies to shut everything down. We wait till the water goes down, and if there's a lot of damage, then you get a representative from the county to come out with all their paperwork. Cause we had it right here, remember that flooding on July 4th? Steve Ambrosa, I think his name is, he
In
came out.
Marlena.
Yeah, he came out and, he showed me, Jerry, the borough manager at the time, Dominic and Pat McCarthy, here's all the paperwork, go to every business, if they have, have them write all this down. To me, that's where they come in. They don't come in to show us how to evacuate people.
Yeah.
It's like running out of the house when there's a fire. I don't need to go to a meeting and what do I do if my house catches on fire? You get out real quick. You know?
There's certain parts of those plans that are built on what the police need to figure out, like for shootings and stuff like that, there's certain parts of those plans. I think when you take 6 communities and you have 6 borough managers or 6 whoever who agree to go to these meetings, you all have the same booklet, you all know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, cause at the end of the day, things start flooding, we're gonna be calling the same people. All the deputies, like, I'm gonna be on call, police are gonna be, DPW is gonna be calling,
Right.
whoever else is a part of that. I mean, I think 6 is better than 2, but 2 is a great start. I'm not saying that not working with somebody is not a great idea. I just fear,
Talk to the COG.
I will, we will, but I fear being, like Fred said, the baby brother. And that happens a lot. So that's why I'm so dead set on making sure that doesn't happen with this. Because I can see a point where it becomes one's more important than the other. And that scares me. And that's just from working with him for the last 7 months. That's all that worries me.
I have no problem going, talking to the cog and, split it, 6 ways or how many other communities. Or I think that's a better idea. In every community, the borough manager can take a meeting, over the next.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Then get together, twice a year or something and go over everything. And to me, like I said before, it's the paperwork part where the county comes in.
Right.
That's all- that's all I have.
tomorrow night's a cog, I can kinda,
Yeah,
I gotta talk, yeah, and I have to call him tomorrow anyways, because he's asking for something. And I'm like,
UCC,
yeah, I'm like, that's all has to be done by ordinance, and our ordinance isn't done yet.
oh, you know him.
I know, so I have to call him tomorrow. He called me while I was gone. I just have no time.
that's all. I have.
That's all you have, Dave? Thank you.
President, yes.
Borough Manager, Stephanie.
Story walk placement. I just want to keep that on your radar. I do not want to get a call from the library and have the library go, have you thought about something? And me go, nope, not a soul. So,
Thank you, Stephanie. I think I volunteered myself to do a survey.
yeah.
And I wanted to check with you first if you had a preferred format for such a survey, and also to check in with everybody about which locations council would like to include.
What, do
I
we have
do-
options to choose from?
Yeah, we could, I thought about you could put it at railroad. You could put it down, railroads, you could put it. I mean, there's quite a few spots you can put it,
Railroad, Riverbank, Community Garden, Cribs.
cribs.
So- Yeah,
I had suggested to maybe coincide with the Bottom Trail.
You could do, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
There's
nice.
gonna be a-
Corner of center and ARB.
I mean, other than
Yeah,
that.
go down, get on the boulevard.
Below the tracks.
I would, as a suggestion, immediate thought is I would stay away from cribs.
Yeah.
Because the volume of kids there that are basically uncontrolled.
Yeah.
I don't think it would last long.
Might be vandalism.
I thought, I even thought like railroad, like you put it down railroad
use,
down
not-
by,
not actually
Seymour and
vandalism,
stuff
you
like
know,
that. right
Going
around
over and
there.
touching it.
Steel City.
Yeah, right, what we're doing all that, I don't see why that would hurt.
No, I think that's a good idea. It would be more quieter to take a walk with your
Yeah.
kids, and
It-
like you said, with
And then you can
the
throw
the massive
river.
people up at Tribs. Yeah, I agree with,
And once the ice cream shop gets there, you might never be able to see it again.
right.
I mean, I thought, but like, you're doing so much work with the Champions Walkway and stuff like that, we could put it down around all of that, it would be pretty, but I just don't wanna lose it off our radar, because I know she's gonna call and then I'm gonna go.
so I'll put something together based off of those locations. If anyone has others, let me know, and then,
I'll put it on the
on
web,
the web.
give me a survey, and I can put it on I'll put it on Facebook, I'll put it on the web, and I'll also, text it out.
you're the best.
Do you remember how long they recommended the walk be?
All they said was 34.
Oh,
Was that
I
like
have-
a mile or
No.
2 miles or?
no,
Or was it 15 feet between them
Yeah.
and up to 30 signs?
yeah,
Basically 30 signs.
We'd
at
have to
15
say
feet,
no.
So is that 450 feet?
So less than a mile, yeah.
yeah, it's
Much
short.
less.
Well, cause you could do a loop below the tracks,
I like
and
that.
it's about a 3/4 of a mile or a mile.
Mhm, I like that.
I mean, because the one in Oakmont's like on the fence,
Yeah.
so this would be a little different.
At the library.
Yes,
I mean,
Poles in, I think.
I think I'd rather have the pulls that.
yeah, this is gonna be with poles.
Yeah.
What they showed us is what they're gonna use. That was just like a demo thing. I think eventually they will.
Well, I mean, like community garden, we could put one on the fence there, to not have to
Right.
install a pole or.
You could even, put them along. I just think that would be prettier down here. Where it's quieter and there's not as much
Mhm.
traffic and
Yeah, but there's
unless you wanna do the middle of ARB, it's all right.
maybe too early for that.
I mean, we could even put them like down here on Railroad, like at the bottom of the hill
Mhm,
on East Railroad, so they're walking in the grass and can read them as they're
Yeah.
walking down,
Yeah.
mhm.
So,
and it could go, I mean, pretty much just the one side from here to the parking lot would pretty much cover the whole thing, if not more than enough space.
Well, like the manager says, we gotta move on that because sooner or later they're gonna say didn't decide and we're gonna be
Oh,
at
yeah.
the point
Right.
where, well, we're still talking. Well, we talked, but now we have to make decisions.
Well, if Trish can come up with something,
Ask them that.
and if she needs help, ask
All
for
about
it.
decisions today.
Yep. Okay, that's it on that?
That's it on that.
Okay.
Next, you should all have a little cute package about the DPW. Truck. As you know, we received a grant. Under the local share grant, and we get ourselves a new F600. And there happens to be one sitting that's CoStar, that's has a CoStar number on it. Ready to go, it would be upfitted with, you know, a stainless steel body and, if you read, it has all the parts and pretty features on it. It would come with the dump body, the hydraulics, the plow, the spreader. It would come with, a new leaf back, a new box, and, everything, Matt has reviewed is again, CoStar rated. This would be approximately, Matt and I differ on our numbers, but about $195,000. I have $192, he has 195. The original estimate was 188, all things considering we did this, you know, by estimate, we did pretty good. It would cost us about $37,000. We did sell the Peterbilt last year, which was meant to cover that cost. The only question becomes, as you can see, the only picture you have that's in color is the color of the truck.
Yeah,
Instead of red.
depends on yellow.
Yeah.
You know, there's a part of me that says to everybody, you know, I've seen gold Verona shirts with the logo on them. We've seen purple Verona, you know, we can wrap it. But wrapping's gonna, you know, it's gonna cost and it's also going to.
Rip. It's a work vehicle.
Yeah,
It's gonna get nicked.
I'm fine with yellow.
Yellow's fine.
Fine.
We always had yellow trucks in the past. And, actually Bob Gucci, the street foreman at the time, he wanted to change the color and that's why we went to red.
But I think if we go yellow and with the logo, we highlight the purple part of it,
Yeah.
and we're in Verona colors.
And here's the thought process, and I'm sure you know this, Mr. Mayor, if we order a truck in the perfect color with the perfect specs that we exactly want, we could be looking, what, a year and a half.
Easy.
before it comes in. This is sitting on a lot right now, waiting for us to basically say, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yellow's fine with me.
Yeah.
So,
Why waste money?
there'll be a motion in a little bit about that, but I just wanted everybody to see the pictures, cause like I said, AJ comes into me, he goes, it's yellow. I'm like, is it there? And he goes, yeah, I go, I don't care if it's purple. I was like, I don't care what color it is.
So they have no preference, DPW.
It's higher visibility too, so it's technically safer.
It's 158,000 and that will cover the other
Some
37.
gold lettering on there, it's
Purple lettering.
purple, yeah, purple lettering, that'll look nice.
Yeah.
And they're okay with the yellow color.
Yeah,
They don't care.
again, I think they would be okay with it being like green.
Right.
I think they just want a new truck.
They just want something that works.
Yeah, and I think they're more excited about the leaf back than they are anything
Right,
else.
Me too. Hey, I think I found why you and Matt are differing. One of you says,
58,
What?
one of us says 61.
yeah, because over here it says we get $3,000 off for some reason.
Yeah, so I'm not sure which one of us is right and I wasn't gonna dicker.
What's the availability of it? Is it? on
It's
the lot?
there, the truck is on the lot. We could probably have it by end of this quarter, beginning of next quarter. After they equip it all.
Could we get I mean, if it's approved tonight, can we get the leaf back soon? I mean, cause leaves are gonna be falling another
they
2
said-
months.
They said by the end of the quarter, the beginning of next
Okay.
quarter. So they said they're not talking 6 months from now. And we would have our own leaf box. I guess we don't have our own leaf. box.
Yeah, we don't, actually, I think we have oak ones.
Actually, yeah, we have oak ones.
Yeah, I convinced them to hold it for me. You could do a lot when you do.
Yeah,
So, last but not least for me is the bids for the Second Street reconstruction. As you can see, the lowest bidder is Done Right Construction and Paving,
The UN.
done.
Yeah.
And it's 136,315, which is $11,000 more than we looked at, but Matt said. Estimating gas costs and stuff like that is getting harder and harder every day.
Yeah.
He said it's a good deal, so we have that, when we have a motion and at the end of the meeting to approve that, so that would. Second Street would be done. We are still, just so everybody knows, we are still waiting on bids. We are, let me put this in a better way. We can't bid the alleyways until the county gives us permission, and then the COG has to do the bidding. So we're hoping to have those bids by August.
So where is it held up exactly? Like,
It's just the way the county does it. I think it gets held up, I think it's one of those things where everything in the world gets held up. You start with the feds and it goes to the states, then from the states it goes to the county, from the county it drops down. And everything I think just gets held up. And I know, since they are taking bids, that's a good sign, because right now, the state's running without a budget.
Mhm.
So, anytime, that means all that money they really do have saved from last year.
So, just a quick question back on the truck, I missed how much you said we would basically be paying?
37. And that's all built in. I was not here for this, but you sold a Peterbilt.
How much, and we sold it for a lot more.
Yeah, you sold it for like over, from what Matt said, the 37 is more than covered. by
I think we
Peterbilt.
sold it for close to 70 maybe.
78, I thought.
Yeah, so
78.
it's covered by that Peterbilt. It did exactly what it was meant to do. And then it will be up to us to decide what we want to do with the truck that we can keep it, or if we want to sell it, or.
Mhm. Cool.
great.
Very good. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Nope. Finance Committee, Dr. Carpenter.
Yeah, due to a lot of scheduling conflicts, we did not have a meeting yesterday. There wasn't too much for us to be talking about until we really get deep into the budget again. But Steffi and I talked, and Thomas Bracken and that son did a tremendous amount of work for us on getting the iWork set up with all the regulated rental. And she is proposing, there were, what'd you say, 325 entries?
325 pieces of paper this boy entered that had.
Some had more than one.
One rental to like Verona Gardens that has what, 20?
Yeah, more, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah. So, if you do the math, it's about $6 per landlord, so to speak. And, he did a lot more work than that. So she's proposing that we authorize to pay him $2,000, which is well within the administrative part of the budget for all of the work that he helped us with. I don't know that it would have been done ever if he hadn't done that. And we might as well use the iWork program we're paying for, right?
Not the way things have been going these days. So we really did save it. Understand, he did come in, starting out doing an internship with us and did a bunch of work as an internship.
Was he getting paid for that
No, he
internship?
was not. He had to do it for a college class.
Okay,
And then once he finished that, that's when we brought him in to help with the iWork stuff, because it was between things that happened in the winter and then whatever. It was overwhelming, and
So he was basically volunteering all this time.
basically, yes. I don't wanna-
what was his project before the iWork thing?
We now have every street opening, so we can tell you when a street's open, how that all works. And who's paid and who's not. We can tell you code enforcement stuff. We put all those into a computer. And now that we have a new code enforcement guy, it's really convenient, because then Teresa can just drop it in and it actually will round up to like where that house was, if that house has been on before. So he did a ton of work for us. That was his project.
Mhm.
This was him volunteering, but I feel guilty that, we used his sweat equity.
I think it's a good thing.
How was this payment calculated? Is it like based off the hours?
We did an average of how many applications he entered.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
So it works out to about $6 an application, deal being that some may only have been worth $2, but others were worth, it just like an average.
Even though-
It all evened itself out.
Are we anticipating any future work from this person?
Not as of right now, but you never know. If we decide, we will let you know beforehand. This was kind of one of those things that we started out as a volunteer and then we realized that he had done so much work
Mhm.
and that we didn't have to do. We were like, well, maybe,
Okay, so he wasn't expecting payment, so. This seems fair.
he earned his keep.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of me saying thank you to him.
Deserving.
Yeah, instead of us saying, like next summer, we will hire an intern and that would be a much different experience, but this was much more of somebody who kind of gave us their time and then we went back and said, they owe us we owe them something.
And my recollection from when we did have an intern before. I don't know, we weren't responsible for all that much of the money, and this is less than that,
Mhm.
and so, but we do have to, as soon as the budget's done, we need to start working on that, cause I think the applications are due in February or something.
we'll have to look at that.
You did say it is in the budget.
Yes, it is.
That was my concern because, as everybody knows, we posted a negative budget at the end of the year.
Yeah, no,
So-
we have some, I up budget everything,
Okay.
so yes, there is money.
Okay, good.
That's it. That's all.
Is that it, Nancy?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Recreation Community, Mr. Craig?
Yeah, the only thing I have is comment, the trees and cribs are done now. They did the stump grinding last week. So it's all done. So we're ready for new trees to go in. And I don't know if Shade Tree Commission wants to talk to Tree Vitalize about the new trees. Okay, the only thing that I think we need, whatever, just before deciding, you come to the board so we can
Yeah,
approve.
before we submit our application, we would, want you guys to get an authorization letter.
Yeah,
Perfect.
because I mean, we don't want to have the same issue again.
Yeah,
Too big a
Well,
tree.
they'll do a site visit. to
Yeah,
See.
and I already talked to Brian
Okay,
when-
perfect, yeah.
back when we were looking at the trees way at the beginning, and he was up there and mentioned some trees.
Yeah, we might be able to put in the replacement of that one side. On the outside, I thought half.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed is, like, the two trees by the dental office on the
Yeah,
boulevard,
yeah,
they look like they're half dead. I don't know if that's something.
it's they haven't been trimmed
Okay,
in two plus years.
yeah, but I mean, it's like,
They're elms.
no, the ones, like,
by
right,
the dental.
Wait, time out. If we're gonna talk with Bridget, it's valuable information, we need her to use the mic. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like in front of Roma Dental.
no,
Can you turn it on, please?
Right on the top.
Too short to.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
no, right at, across from, Enterprise,
Yeah,
not wrong,
yeah, those are elms
no,
or oaks,
Oh.
one of the two.
across the boulevard, those one,
You mean in
Yeah.
front of the dentist?
Yeah,
yeah,
on ARB.
yeah,
Yeah, they're elms.
okay,
So they can't be trimmed.
right, I understand that. It's like-
And they haven't been, because I wanna say Beaver Jack got to the end of of East Railroad and they were told to cease and desist.
Yeah. But I mean, but that
So-
will be done this fall.
Yeah, and they're way too tall, even
But-
if we
but I mean,
could have,
if you look at them, like,
yeah,
half the limbs have no leaves and half them, that's why I'm curious, is this something that should they be replaced?
I mean, I would leave that up to our contractor to like kind of let us know. I know a lot of the ones that we did trim, there were a lot of bugs on
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah.
So, that's
Okay.
not a great sign, but not much you can do about that. I didn't really honestly walk that way because those are all elms on both sides of ARB up that way. I'll try to walk by and take a look, but it may be just that they're kind of let to go
Okay,
at this point. for 2 years, so they're kind of, I mean, the one that's next to, the tie, that tree, when we planted it, was just a very odd,
Yeah.
it was just an oddball from the beginning.
Yeah,
But
it's almost like it's a missed species.
yeah, I don't know, it was a weird shape, and there's like 2 nests in it every spring, so it's like.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if you'll talk to them and they just come.
Yeah,
back
yeah,
with-
well, I'll
with
chat with
suggestions.
Laura and see if we can get an application in for, if not the fall, then
Yeah.
the
And he-
spring
and-
of next
and
year.
Like when I talked to Brian, he said no problem. with
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'm
They
sure there'll
replaced
be,
them.
yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
thanks, yeah.
Thank you, Bridget.
Bridget, quick question. Do you guys have a regularly scheduled shade tree commission meeting currently?
I don't know the answer to that. Laura's the chair of our committee. I
Okay,
know we did have a meeting that was advertised
It
a
was
couple months
wild.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember when it
okay.
was.
So they're
Fine.
sort of like ad hoc right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, a lot of our major work has been done already, so, you know, we're kind of in the maintenance phase of everything been done thus far.
I was wondering if next year, you could share with Laura and the committee, commission, maybe having one, scheduled that you could cancel if there's no need to meet, but that way it could be like just advertised at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, yeah, just let Laura know.
like
See why that would
maybe
be-
quarterly or semi-annually or whatever you guys feel is. a
Yeah.
good
Even if you
amount.
just did it in the spring, cause it sounds like once.
Yeah.
spring rolls around, you're kind of, you're like, we don't normally meet, so.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we've been planted most of what we need to plant.
Yeah.
Now it's like special projects, stuff like that.
That's
So
great.
that'd
Thank
be
you.
Right? Yep.
Thank you. Is that it, Mr.
That's it for
Craig?
me.
Public safety, Mr. Provenza?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're currently on hold with the parking duties at this time. Hopefully, maybe next meeting we will somewhere.
I have a message out to Craig.
All right, thank you. Now let me back up as well.
Is that it?
Yes, sir. Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you. Communications, Mr. Floda.
Yes, my committee meets tomorrow, actually. Stephanie did email everybody a digital copy of the work in progress policy regarding Zoom meetings. Nancy made a couple comments so far. We're gonna work on it again tomorrow at the committee meeting. If anybody has any further questions or comments, please email me or attend the committee meeting.
Is there any reason we should be discussing this more now while we're all together?
I mean, we can, if anybody has any questions. I mean, everybody has,
I made my comment, so you can all read that.
I was gonna bring it up tomorrow, I can bring it up tonight, you did provide a lot of questions, we still have to go over the technical part of it. The fact I did bring up concerns about maybe having a moderator, or if you're on vacation, who's
Right.
gonna run the Zoom meeting?
I just want to mention that I do have the phone number of the moderator that works for Oakmont, and it's not that expensive. And I just have been very busy with a million other things in my life, and I will do my best to try to get in touch with her before tomorrow night.
Well, that also depends on the will of council also.
Bianca?
Yeah, but they don't do Zoom meetings for, not for people.
Yeah, they don't do.
They
what
don't
we
do
Well,
do.
whatever, but I mean, this woman is trying to establish apparently a business doing this, and really she'll do whatever we ask her to.
As long as she knows it's gonna be a lot more than what Oakmont does, cause
Yeah.
she'll have to.
Right,
review
but I'm
things,
just
not
saying,
do
I
things.
don't know anything other than her name and her number, and I will get in touch, I will do my best to get in touch with her tomorrow.
And that's also, if that's even the will of council, if council says,
Right.
we don't want a moderator, we just wanna continue to let
Right.
Nancy do it. And then, but we still have to put a policy. If you're sick, or who appoints, like, who's
Right.
gonna run the meeting, who's
Right.
gonna,
Right,
so.
but we need to get our information together
Yes.
before we can make any decisions, so like I said, I will do my best to get in touch with this woman and see what the deal is, and let you know tomorrow night.
And this is gonna be probably like a 3-part policy, but we're working on the first part now, and that's just the brass tacks of like do we want people to have to show their face? Do we have to, are we gonna put them in a waiting room if they don't put their full name, if they put a nickname? That's what we're working on now. Then we have to work on the technical aspect of it, whether we're gonna, do we want a moderator? Are we willing to pay for a moderator? What does the job description of that moderator entail? Like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be an employee of the borough, so.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Which format did you all have in mind when you were making?
I use Zoom.
Which Zoom, like the
this
webinar?
regular- The Zoom
current-
we are using right now.
So if we were to discuss going to webinar, do we still feel that we would need a moderator? I'm looking.
I have no idea. Again, I would have to talk to her.
I think we would,
Yeah,
because
and I
that
think-
way council members can concentrate on the
Probably
council meeting instead of
easier,
fixing a laptop
yeah.
like Nancy was doing tonight.
And
I
I
think-
think the big thing you have to do, like a lot of these rules that were pulled out,
Yeah,
I made sure these aren't just like things I said, okay, here we go. These are all things that came from all over Pennsylvania.
yeah.
90% of them came from Western Pennsylvania. With the idea being that there's a compromise between the two things that one side wants and the other side wants. There's a compromise in there. But if there's a compromise, there's rules. And I mean, my biggest rule is, and I will say, I would like the committee to think about is, I think that the only people, and this is a Penn Hills rule, this is an Oakmont rule, this is all over. That you just have to be either a resident or a business owner of Verona, period, and it's something. I don't care if you're from Timbuktu and you wanna tell me you love Verona, I appreciate that. But I think we really have to stick to that.
We have done that before. The attorney would, say, you know, are you live in Verona or business? And they'd say no. And, you know, he could say it's just comments.
It's just because that way we keep away from, you know, other stuff, but you know, that's my big, you know, kind of brass tack, you know.
I do have one comment on the limited to 3 minutes, and I agree 100% because people can go on and on. But you know, you do have people that come here, and we've had them in the past. That may be elderly people that they may talk a little slower and they try to get their point out, or you got people that maybe have a speech impediment, people that are nervous, and we've had this happen in the past, you know, and this was several councils ago. You know, and the president of council said, you know, your time is up, and I remember distinctly. Past President Tony Fatolis, he said, let the person speak, they're taxpayers, they got good.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah,
You know, and it should be the discretion of either the council or the president to, you know, go beyond 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So they could get their point across, because they might have this much to get to
Yeah.
that point.
But I think a lot of it can be too, if they're just, after 4.5 minutes and they're just repetition, that's when you can say, hey,
I
enough's
do
enough.
agree that,
Right,
yes.
but
I
you're
do.
right.
I think that's what I was more at, and I'm also, the other thing I was big about was. There has to be a point where, you know, we offer public comment both at the beginning and the end of the meeting. You know, really watching that, making sure it's only so long, and making sure, one of our biggest problems, and I noticed this because I take the minutes. Is somebody will speak, but then somebody else will speak, and then they'll speak again. You can't jump back, this is public comment, you get to make a public comment, you know.
I think the other thing is we already say, limit your comments to 3 minutes. We've been saying it all
Yeah.
along. So this isn't, the 3 minutes isn't a new thing.
No, I know
It was
it's not.
timed like a couple years.
No,
ago.
I'm saying you have people that are nervous
But
or
I mean, but-
elderly person might speak slowly. But you know, and if they got a good point, you know, let them speak for an extra minute or two.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be the discretion of the board,
Right.
you know?
So
Yeah, that's all I'm
the way it is
saying.
now.
Yeah, and the registered speakers, if you wanna be a registered speaker, that's fine, you can be a registered, again, you have to be a resident or a business owner or. Business in front of the council, but I need to know by Friday. This way, people call on Monday and say,
Oh,
hey, they
yeah.
could do it, no. I mean, I really would like to know by Thursday, because I would really like to have them out by Friday morning.
Yeah, and if it's registered, it has to be on the agenda, it has to
Yeah.
be advertised.
We probably need to make that very clear, especially whenever we would start all this at the beginning of the meeting repetitively, and also, maybe put a little announcement on the website, you know, if you want to be a registered speaker for a meeting, our meetings are the second Tuesday and the last Tuesday. You have to have your requested, you know, let people know, because I think half the people that may come in on a Monday don't realize they have to have had their request in the Friday
That's,
before.
and we will have that, but, and then the other big thing is, like I said, if you make a public comment once, if you want it at the beginning of the meeting, I don't care if you want to make it at the end of the meeting, but we can't keep jumping back and forth.
Sure.
That's just, it's too much as the note takers, and it's too much, it doesn't, you know, so that we can kind of have some semblance of what's going on.
Well, I think even at the end of the meeting, like. Nothing you can say at the end of the meeting can't be said at the beginning of the next meeting. Because nothing can happen in between those points.
Craig has also pointed out many times that public comment is for public comment. It's not a back and forth.
Rebuttal, right?
Not
Well,
rebuttaling our.
it's not, although I did make the point in my comments here that there are times when there's something very simple that someone is asking
yeah.
about, and it takes 10 seconds to respond to them, yes, no, or we're not
Oh,
sure.
just like
And then-
tonight
and
with
then-
Bridget.
Yeah, and it just, there's no more work that needs to be done about it, because it was settled right here in the meeting in 30
Right,
seconds.
right, and I completely agree with that. What I worry about is oh, I completely agree with so and so, so now I'm gonna. I don't wanna, you know, make your statement, make your comment, if somebody says something, you know, write it down.
Yeah,
It's not that I don't wanna hear it,
yeah,
it's just that
and it's gonna,
what starts to happen is people start repeating each
Right.
other.
Yeah.
And that's,
And-
they gang
and
up,
it's
and
gonna
that's
be-
not fair on any
it's
of
gonna
us.
be somewhat, some of this is sort of gonna be a meeting by meeting basis. It's gonna be up to the discretion of the person running the meeting.
Right.
But if we do start wanting to get any different with our 3-minute thing, I mean, I don't think anybody's really abusing
No,
that time limit, but if we're gonna be real sticklers, then you're gonna have to use the timer on your phone and time everyone, and we can't make any comment because that takes away from their 3
Well,
minutes.
and I'm not worried about as much about their 3 minutes as I am about the.
repetitious.
Yeah,
Just going back
okay.
and forth.
Well, I'm
What-
just,
what
you
I'm
know, yeah,
Really trying to say it, I just want everybody to be able to have their opinions and say their opinions and talk and speak. And move on. I mean, because as many times as I've heard. The people say to us, they have families and so do all of us, so I just wanna be. Good with their time, good with our time, good with the people who are sitting out here's time.
Efficient, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna be efficient. I wanna hear everybody's opinion.
You're here.
hey, and this is sort of off topic, but in the topic, because it's in here. We used to have a sign-in sheet
We're
for our
getting one.
meeting,
I'm looking for it.
and,
Right.
yeah, they're somewhere.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it up on the mic though, because I'd like to have people that talk sign in, because that way I have a better shot of it.
And they'll put their address in,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you'll be
yeah,
able to hear what it is and the spelling of
Yeah,
their
yeah, we are
last name.
doing that, trust me.
Okay,
Great
but we
idea.
did used to have one, and we signed in week after week.
Teresa and I are working on that right now, because both of us are tired of trying to figure out, sometimes you'll see in the minutes, they'll say so and so at such and such North Avenue, because we don't know what the street address.
Right,
It's a great idea.
I just have one other reminder, I'm sure she's gonna remind you that I have something.
Yeah.
When we get to the announcements, area, I have something. The deadline for the newsletter is August 1st, and we talked in our last committee meeting. Red, would you be willing to throw together an article about the public dock grant and the new river access water trail signs? And
Actually, I submitted in the last.
yeah, just an update that they're in,
Okay.
because I believe it said
Oh,
they
they
were
are?
coming in, no, but they should be.
I don't know, to be honest with
Okay,
I actually vote, yeah.
and just an update on the grant and, if we could get a article in there about update on the code. If we have one, we're lucky to have one, if it happens before August 1st, that's all I have. right
Yeah, we'll be right on that.
Yeah, what is the update on?
Oh, we don't have an update. How's that? There's no update on an update. Tim and I will have to
Would write
discuss
something and I
that in a
forget.
separate, in a time and place.
Was I supposed to write something?
Okay.
I was gonna put, it's also new, we have new Parks and Rec board members, so I was gonna. put
That's
that
right.
in there. That was your idea though, so.
Okay.
If you wanna
Best
write it,
news.
you can, but I will.
All good?
That's all I have until, and we can do announcements.
Thanks, Vince.
No problem.
Infrastructure and asset, Miss Redzak Showalter.
Thank you, Mr. President. We also did not have a committee meeting this month due to scheduling issues. We plan to meet in August and we'll be revisiting the draft of paving policies. So expect to see that reoccurring at a future workshop meeting. I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Development, Mr. Long.
You just got told he's having a meeting.
you.
No update. Thank you. All right. Action items. As we discussed earlier about the grant and this F600, the dump body with the spreader and the leaf vacuum to cost $192,880.17. I'd like to have a motion to, Mr. Craig, motion, and Mr. Long second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed.
The boys will love you.
Thank you. I just want to say on that, thanks to all involved on the grant, on the paperwork. I know Matt did a lot of paperwork. Our late representative DeLuca did a lot. Our new representative, Mr. McAndrew did a lot. And our borough manager, Stephanie, did a lot. So thanks to everybody that got all that work, and AJ
AJ and those guys. did a lot.
and AJ and his boys.
I do have a question, like how long has the leaf vac been broke? It's been a couple of years.
They've been
So
putting it together. Oh my God, that
It's
thing's
been
old.
breaking for like 5-6 years.
Yeah,
They
they
like-
keep,
Use
Putting
twisty
it
ties,
together.
duct tape.
Okay,
and
so
they,
it's long overdue.
and that, the box that we use, I believe, is Oakmont.
Yeah.
It is.
So now we'll have our own. We can get that back to Oakmont.
I just remember for over 5 years.
Yeah.
hearing
It's
problems
longer
with
than
the
that that we've
vac
had it.
and- Yeah,
So
so
then it's pretty.
that'll help.
It'll let you back excited.
That'll help clean up the town.
Oh,
Yeah.
The first time they do it, I'm gonna go and run out.
I told mine when I wait.
We had people last year coming to council meetings complaining, like, when you guys gonna vacuum the leaves? Like, we had to tell them that we
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah.
It was broke.
Someday we have to work on getting a street sweeper, but that's a much bigger.
Yeah,
expense.
yeah.
That's been broke a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
so.
$250,000, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we just spent $6,000 to get.
Might
it
be able to
fixed.
buy Sharpsburg.
Never mind.
Is the old-
Next item.
Right, what's the old one, is it sellable? or
The
no?
leaf back? No. No.
No.
No.
It's,
Yeah, it's.
I'd be embarrassed.
Oh, did you?
I didn't, yeah, I think it's.
We can probably get money for scrap.
Scrap?
could probably get scrapped for it,
Let's
but
go for scrap.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that would be
Good.
much better.
Okay.
I would hate for somebody to buy it.
somebody, although you never know, you put it on a municipal bid, somebody might buy it.
They will, I would put it on there.
I would.
Somebody might have the same model that needs parts.
Yeah,
And I know it's worn out, but you'll sell it.
yeah,
We'll put it for parks, that works.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, we
Yeah.
sold the copier that's been sitting in our kitchen for
Yeah.
forever and a day. We've gotten the money for
Well,
it.
at least it's out of jail.
Okay, next up, we have a motion, we need a motion to accept the bid from Dunright Construction and Paving in amount $136,315 for paving Second Street.
A second.
First by Mr. Long, second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. The next action item is a motion to approve payment to Thomas Bracken in the amount of $2,000.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. We are down to announcements and information. Newsletter, Twin Borough Ministry, Chamber of Commerce and Historical Society, Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Vince said, the newsletter is due Tuesday, August 1st. And that date is rapidly approaching. You folks can please get your ads, get your articles in, because we want to go to print early so we can get this out to people. And there's so much that's going to be going on now with holidays coming up. So whatever it is you are going to be doing, please let us know, not at the last minute. We need to know like ASAP. And you can send the articles to Dawn Wharf, our editor, at veronanewsroom@gmail.com, or you can call him, which is 412-828-3607. And I can be reached at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce, today the farmers market coupons were given, so people can start using them now at our wonderful farmers market here, which is every Thursday from 2 to 7. So we encourage people to come down, use our farmers market. We have a beautiful market here. And Historical Society, the trip to the Stonehouse Mansion in Salzburg has been changed to Sunday, August the 6th. And that is changing from Saturday, which was July 29th. That will no longer be the 29th. Again, it will be on August the 6th. And anyone that's interested in going will meet at the Verona Borough Building here at 11 a.m. And the tour will be at 12 noon. It's a free admission and donations are accepted if anyone is interested in giving. And a big thank you to Rhoda for organizing the trip. Twin Borough Ministries, the next community dinner is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday at the Verona Methodist Church from 4:30 to 6:30. And it will be hosted by the Verona Methodist Church. And the hall is also open if anyone chooses to eat in the building. ALOM is again doing their yearly sporting of clay shoot, and that's returning on Friday, September the 8th, and it's going to take place at Promised Land Sporting Clays, and that's at 204 Spangler Road in Freeport, PA. Tickets are $150 per person, which is going to include the clays, also ammunition, golf cart, and lunch. And it will start at 9 a.m. with registration and also a breakfast. And the 10 o'clock the shoot begins. And there's also later going to be a program, lunch, and prizes. And there was a couple things on here I wanted to announce. Also want to remind you all, the Verona Community Yard Sale is coming up. It'll be on Saturday, August the 12th, from 8 until 2. And if anyone is interested in being a participant, please call Jessica Barone at 412-818-5946, because we'll have a map of all the people that are participating in the community yard sale. So make sure that if you're going to do it, please let Jessica Barone know. And Dave, your car cruise is coming up. We invite everyone to be there. It starts at 2 p.m. till 9 here at Railroad Park. And that's a great afternoon. How many cars, Dave?
Well, last year we had 160 cars, actually ran out of room. It actually starts from 4 to 9. The road closure, I told the chamber they could shut it down. We'll shut it down at 2 o'clock.
Officially starts at 4 though.
Yeah, but they start coming in at 2:30.
And of course, Battle and Birds coming up soon, and I can't believe it's number 5. Congratulations to the fencing committee, and that's gonna be August 19th at Cribs Field. Gates are gonna open at 3 p.m. The first match will be at 6 p.m. Let's see if there's anything else. Do we have any comments or questions?
Sylvia, did you want to say anything about our dinner next month?
I was going to do that. I forgot. Thank you. Yeah, we do need to think about a menu for that, because we are sponsoring the next community dinner. So we do need to talk about that.
That's in
I
August.
think we got it.
August 30th, and we have a chef on council couple chefs, who may have something worked up if you want to share.
Yeah, well, Red said that he can take down macaroni and cheese, and we're thinking, doing chicken fingers with a brownie and a salad.
Okay.
So,
Okay, sounds good, Tim.
that's what we're looking at right now. We'll get some prices, so we'll have some stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, so. When I first started on council, people just bought stuff and they donated it, but it was not equal. Some people bought something real inexpensive and other people like bought all the hot dogs or something. So if everyone keeps track of what they spend, you know, somehow we can put it together and do the math, and then we can contribute, so each person is paying equally
That's
toward
the
the dinner.
easiest way.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
I also felt that sometimes the time were unequal, like some people could come for like half an hour and some people came for the whole time. So block out the 30th, and if you can't work the whole time, that's fine, but maybe you could buy some extra rolls or whatever.
Newer people may not recall how it goes when you actually have people in the hall eating. So
Right.
not only, I mean, we were just handing out the to-go packages.
Right.
That wasn't too hard. Now with people eating in the dining room, we need several people to
You're gonna
take
need
the plates
servers.
to them and put them on the tables.
I have this really cute
Yeah.
14-year-old,
All
and I'm more than happy to donate to you all.
Hey, as long as Wade's there.
Wade will be-
Wade.
I will be able to attend for the whole event, but I will also have to cancel my committee meeting because it is the same day.
No, your committee meeting is the fourth
It's the
Wednesday.
Yes.
This is
good point.
5
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay.
See, you can have both, aren't you
Yeah.
excited?
I just get mad, I get sad, because like,
I was
the
thinking
community
the same
dinner's
thing.
tomorrow, and I usually like to go, but I'll be sitting here.
Yeah, I was
Next
actually thinking
month.
the same thing. That's what I was just looking on.
But I'll be able to be there
I will.
regardless.
And
even
just
if I
as
have
a
to cancel.
reminder,
We all
that
will be.
also means that our August meeting, workshop meeting is the 5th Tuesday of the month.
It's the day before. that.
Yes,
Just as an FYI, because it screwed me up.
Yeah, it's the last.
yeah, so it'll be the day before that dinner.
Nancy, the comment you brought up was good. Tim, are you planning to maybe go somewhere like Sam's Club and buy everything?
I priced it through,
Village.
the village inn.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say, if you're going somewhere like that, get everything in one place and then divide it among.
Yeah, I'm gonna get prices for everything that we wanna do, and then, I'll have. Price of what it's gonna
We'll
cost.
ask Red what he needs for his
Yeah.
mac and cheese too.
Yeah, so we'll
I'll get it and then give you the prices, because I.
Yeah, just save the receipts.
Yeah.
If anybody buys anything, save the receipts,
Yeah.
divide it up, divide it by 9 or whatever.
Well, it's actually
Okay.
usually Craig and Matt are willing to contribute to that as well.
Okay.
So it'd actually be 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be there, so.
But if we could keep it under 20 per person, that would be good, $220 total.
But I don't see being much more than that.
Okay.
Wear your shirts,
Because I'm gonna be making.
Oh, yeah, I'll be wearing my
scratch,
shirt.
so.
Yeah, we'll wear our shirts.
wear your shirts.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, 'cause they're dining in, so
You got it.
Sylvia, you missed one thing on there, B.
I'm doing it.
Oh, okay, okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Good.
You
No, if you wanna do the B. go ahead.
Yes, I just want to announce that Movies in the Park for August will be ready to rumble. That is a PG-13 movie. It is on Friday, August 11th at dusk at Road Park. Our last movie in the park was last Friday, and it was Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, and we had about 50 or over people.
Wow.
We had some teenagers that were enthralled.
Oh, yeah.
They were glued to the screen.
My son loves them.
Really?
Yeah, he thinks they're.
I did, it got more people than Aladdin did, so, it worked pretty well, and like Sylvia said, fifth wrestling event is Saturday, August 19th. We are having School of Rock come back for live music. Tim just confirmed with Dan Teehee that Oakmont Fire Company and Verona Fire Company will both be involved. I think Oakmont's gonna bring their new ladder truck. We have some surprise matches in store for that. Lower Valley Ambulance is bringing 2 ambulances. Then we will be having raffles to benefit the bike derby and Lower Valley EMS and the Verona Volunteer Fire Department. And the last thing I have is, this is new, I couldn't get it on the agenda, but I'd like to make an announcement. I contacted Shirley Davis from the Verona United Methodist Church, because I know that her summer youth camp program is winding down. I think she has 3 weeks left. I also know a person who is on the board of a nonprofit called Pittsburgh Let's Go Fishing. And I connected them two together with the Lower Valley Athletic Foundation. And we set up a fishing trip for the summer youth program at the church.
Great.
They will be going down to Lake Carnegie at Highland Park on August 1st from 9:30 to 2 p.m. And they will be giving fishing instructions and letting all the kids fish. The United Methodist Church is providing the kids and the transportation. Pittsburgh Let's Go Fishing is providing all the fishing rods and the bait and the instruction, as long as counselors and instructors. And the Lower Valley Athletic Foundation is the people who set it all up, and we are providing lunch, drinks, and snacks for the day.
Awesome, awesome.
I thought that would be pretty memorable and a learning experience for the kids
Sure.
before they go back to school, and something that it teaches them how to, they focus more on socializing than actually catching fish. It's more about the experience than the bounty.
In our riverfront.
I tried to get it.
No, I mean, for future.
It's skills that kids could use in this town because we're a river
Correct.
community.
That's what
And
I
a
meant.
lot of kids don't do that anymore. So I'm trying to get activities for kids to be able to do stuff. And I did pitch to have it at Steel City Rowing, but it being on the river and the dock not being so big, surely has 20 kids. That's a safety hazard.
Yeah.
This nonprofit has Carnegie Lake. It's right next to the city of Pittsburgh swimming pool in Highland Park. It's safe, it's contained, and it's better than if a kid falls in the river. You're calling river rescue because they're gone. They're going down with the current. So this is a lot safer, and they actually have 2 lakes. They have City of Pittsburgh gave them one in Highland Park to use, and they have one in Butler. At one of the sportsmen's clubs in Butler. So I think next year we're gonna plan early and maybe have 2 field trips, one to Butler early and then one to Highland Park late. So Shirley's really excited about it. She said the kids are really excited about it. And I know that Pittsburgh Go Fish is really excited about it, so.
That's a
Very good.
Experience for
Yeah.
you.
That's nice. Thanks for setting that up.
It was last week. It was a last minute thing, and luckily all the dates matched up, and we're able to get it done. Like I said, that's this Tuesday coming up.
It was all a good time.
Very good, thank you. Any other announcements or information? This time we'll take public comments from the public. Council will hear comments from the public related items. Please approach a podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Nobody at the podium? Oh.
Hello again, Bridget Series, 719 Allegheny River Boulevard. I just wanted to bring it to council's attention, if it isn't already at your attention, that we have had our second drunk driving accident on ARB in the last 3 months. Additionally damaged 6 cars. Fortunately, this accident was late enough in the evening that there were no pedestrians. But I know my husband and I, who own 719 ARB, are contemplating what can be done to protect our building. Because if these accidents continue, at some point, someone's building is going to be hit by a car. I mean, I already have to wait before I step a toe out on ARB anyway, because of people driving way too fast on a regular basis and running red lights. So, you know, just wanted to bring it to your attention. You know, we're talking about putting pylons up on the sidewalk because, you know, our insurance is already not for our building, and the idea of having to do a remodel because of damage from a driver, whether they're drunk or not, does not, you know,
When
not
did-
something I want to have to endure as a situation.
When did that happen?
Yeah,
This past Saturday? That's the first I'm hearing of this.
Saturdays ago, I think. I don't know. I mean, we're the one that always have to provide video. Because our cameras always catch everything. You know, the last drunk driving accident, my nephew's car was totaled. Fortunately, again, because it was earlier in the evening, there was no, you know, Cedar Works wasn't opened and he wasn't on the way to.
It was
his
July
vehicle.
16th
July
Yeah.
16th.
at 3:09 AM.
Yeah, I know,
First I'm
I
hearing of this.
was told about it the next morning because I hear nothing. So.
It was a work van, I believe.
It was a work van, and all I know is,
Yes, and
because the
he
fire department was called, there was
left
4
the scene.
vehicles involved,
Yeah,
and the driver fled the
fled the
scene.
scene. Yes, correct.
But there's a second one now, you're saying? that
No,
happened?
there was one about 3 months ago with
Oh.
another drunk driver. It was about 10 o'clock at night.
Is that the one that hit the pole?
Or they had the
Uh,
garbage can by Billy K's.
No, this was on Airbnb.
Oh, yeah.
The
knocked
driver,
the
Bob
light out,
actually
so,
had to get in the car and turn the car off.
Yeah.
Because the guy was trying to unlodge himself from the vehicle in front of him. By like revving the engine and trying to get it in reverse. I mean, it was. Gentleman was very, very intoxicated, so. But you know, these things can happen whether people are intoxicated or
Right.
not.
Right,
So,
because the one by Billy Kay was not, did not.
yeah, I don't know that much about that
Intoxication, I
situation.
understand it.
he
We
was
just-
suspended.
Yeah,
I hope we're getting insurance money to replace all these
Any bonus?
garbage containers and light poles.
Well,
Yeah.
our light poles are all covered by insurance.
yeah,
The garbage containers are not because they're not,
Well, so the person that, hit the pole in the garbage
Yeah.
can, they have insurance?
yeah, the guy from Billy K's, yeah, the light pole that was hit at Billy K's is covered by insurance. The light pole that was hit by the post office is covered by
Mhm.
insurance.
But, yeah, but I mean, the garbage can should be covered also.
They will cover that one, I think. I mean, they're, you know,
Well, they've been able to sort of rig them up and.
yeah, I mean,
put them
I'm
back
not
into
sure, I mean, to
operation.
be honest with you,
Garbage.
Mr. Mayor, I'm 100 times more concerned about the light poles.
No, I
because the
understand.
The problem is they're so expensive, trying to get them, the insurance companies to replace them has become kind of a game.
The garbage cans are like $800.
Yeah, so we're working on the garbage cans, that one I know is included. The other problem we're having with the garbage cans are, you know, lots of other things are happening to the garbage cans.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Fine, Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
I see no virtual hands. At this point, I'd like to take a motion to adjourn. So moved by Mr. Long, second by Mrs. Prevens. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you for attending tonight. Appreciate the
He should
questions.
have been there the day when he had lunch and they still had pepper tomatoes. Or shoot.
Hold on, guys.
I guess I don't understand that as far as the insurance. If I wreck into your